Welcome to the 15th Floor, a Radiohead reaction podcast where a Gen X father tries to convince his Gen Z son that Radiohead is the greatest band of all time by having him react to Radiohead music one song at a time. He reacts for the first time, gives you his opinion of that song, and I get to talk about it and talk about why it contributes to the hypothesis that Radiohead is the greatest band of all time. Right off the bat, gotta explain, I've lost my voice. Also wearing a jersey, those two things go hand in hand. So I took my two oldest kids, Jacob and his older brother, over to Seattle for some baseball games. We're big Mariners fans. I've been a Mariners fan my whole life, through thick and thin, and there has been a lot of thin. But anyway, we went to go to catch a few games. When we first got the tickets, we just picked a couple games that we could catch back to back. We had no idea what was going to happen in those games, of course. As it turns out, as the time approached to go to those games, it was getting closer and closer to the Seattle Mariners clinching a playoff spot, which, if you're not familiar with the Seattle Mariners in playoffs, they haven't been in the playoffs in 21 years, which is the longest drought in American professional sports. And as we got closer, we realized that there's a possibility we're going to see the game that they clinch the playoffs. And we did. We were there on Thursday and Friday. I lost my voice a little bit Thursday because that was a big game. 9 home runs between the two teams. Walk-off win. But Friday was the night we clinched the playoffs for the first time in 21 years. They celebrated, we had fireworks, they did all this stuff, and we were just screaming. I know you're not supposed to just scream, but that's exactly what we did. And I lost my voice doing it, but I'm wearing the jersey because we're excited about playoffs over here. Our last video was no surprises, and in that video I said that we'd be going back to the Bends. And then left it up to you guys to kind of pick which songs from the Bends. I used what you said on the comments from the last video, plus what was kind of already down from previous comments. And the song that wins is, as you can tell from the thumbnail, My Iron Lung. And you think you might have heard My Iron Lung before. Yeah. We'll see. Stick around because after he reacts, we're going to go over a little bit about just a little bit of a breakdown of which albums you kind of have liked the most. Based on your scores. I love this album. I regularly will tell people that The Bends is probably my favorite album of all time. I think it is almost perfect. I say almost. I'm hard-pressed to think of why it wouldn't be considered perfect. It's a rock-heavy album, and The Bends, this song has a little bit to do with the title of The Bends. I don't know that I've ever heard the band confirm, but The Bends, of course, is a decompression disease where syndrome where you come up from low depths in water too quickly, and it causes air bubbles in your brain and all this stuff. But there's a theory that it's called the Bends because of the Creep was so huge from Pablo Honey that they rose in their fame so quickly because of the success of Creep. And so when you rise quickly, that's great, but it also can have disastrous effects. And for them, it was mostly mental, and it was just a difficult to get through that weird rush of success. And that's referenced a little bit in this song. My Iron Lung was suggested by a lot of people, but these are the ones I have listed most recently. Lucky Kid A, Tonga Studio, Jonathan Hine, Ritzau, and East CHCH Kia. Some names we're very familiar with. My Iron Lung I think it was the big single from the Bends. It was the first single. It was meant to introduce people to this album. I don't know that it was the most popular song on the album, but I've always loved it. It's a fun song. Let's see what you think. From 1995's The Bends, this is My Iron Lung.
Do it every day. I don't remember hearing this song. The only thing I remember is that guitar, and that guitar is pretty unique, I'd say, so that's probably why I remember it. There was this moment, I don't know, but after the first time he said my iron lung, there was like 2 seconds where I'm like, I got like this huge nostalgic burst for some reason. I don't know why. Like, it was like, this reminds me of like the times I listened to the 90s stuff in the car, but like, I don't remember, and it's so weird.
You're not sure what the connection is exactly, huh?
I just remember getting this nostalgic burst for like 2 seconds and then it's gone. It's weird.
That's okay. Pablo Honey, the the album before the Bends, was you got Ed, Johnny, and Tom all on guitars, and they were generally kind of playing the same thing. 3 guitars playing the same thing with an occasional Johnny deviation. This album, they finally dialed in how they're going to use their guitars differently and how they're all going to play different parts. And you hear it so well on this song, where you hear the arpeggios coming from Ed and the rhythm coming from Tom and the clear lead coming from Johnny. And go back and listen to those verses sometime. You'll hear all 3 different guitars. You hear, oh, they're doing different things. Instead of that, we're coming at you with fortissimo or loud all the time. The dynamics change so well in this album. And this song is a great example of, oh, we have a new album. Look at this. We finally dialed in our dynamics, the loudness of the song. And it's not just loud, quiet, or just loud the whole time.
Don't know how I should feel about that because I think I have good stuff for this one. I definitely don't remember it. Definitely would have remembered something like that. You mentioned like the guitar is pretty good in the song. I do like the guitar when they get more crazy with it when he's singing. The crazier parts of the guitar was pretty good. The ending, the guitar was pretty good, like you said. I was able to. I don't know if I would have said that if you didn't say that, but I feel like I would have. Yeah. It would have been processed in my brain.
Hard not to pick out those Johnny Greenwood notes at the end during the last Head Shrinkers part.
I thought it was. I mean, the upbeat parts were pretty fire, but like the parts that were not, sounded like most Radiohead songs.
It's a pretty fitting Radiohead song. Melodic though.
I kind of wish this song was on Rock Band.
It is on Rock Band.
It is.
So
yeah, we said that. Okay.
It was a downloadable. What do you want to call it? Attachment. I don't know squat about video games. Jacob was a good. He's a Rock Band enthusiast. You haven't done it in a long time because no one has the stuff anymore.
The Wii.
But
we don't have the Wii anymore.
But you got really good at the guitar stuff on Rock Band.
If you have a Wii and a Rock Band set, please send it to our address. We'll put it in the link description, and I would be so ever grateful.
Yes, he would love to have that again. This song clearly references, this is our new song, just like the last one, A Total Waste of Time. So they're referencing Creep. This is our new song. Doesn't it sound just like the last one? And it's a total waste of time. You're begging us for another Creep. They had another album ready. They have all these songs they've been touring with, and they don't dislike their songs at all. They just don't like being pressured to make another Creep. Mm-hmm. And so here it is. This is our new song. It's just like the last one. It deals, as does the lyrics of the song, as there's a lot of lyrics in the Bends, deals with that sudden rise in fame. The Bends is... This is a us problem. We're dealing with it. This is how we're dealing with things. OK Computer this is a societal problem, not ours. It's on you. It's a switch there. You know what an iron lung is? It was used mostly for people who had polio, but anyone who has paralysis of the lungs, the pressure changes allow for the machine to breathe for you. You have to lay down. You can't do it. I mean, you're just laying there in this machine the whole time. While it's awful and terrible and cumbersome and big and metal and it's also the thing keeping you alive. Just like Creep. It's a pain in the rear, doing all these things that the music people are making you do, but it's also the reason why you're able to do what you're doing. And so there's a lot in there for that, which makes this song, gives it a lot of depth, I think. What do you give My Iron Lung?
Musically, it would be an 8, and then I guess the meaning of it kind of gives an 8.5. It's, I guess, creative is a nice way to put it, because I never heard of My Iron Lung, and now an Iron Lung, and then you sing, and I'm like, oh, that's nice, and that makes sense, and I understand that.
It's 8 based on your listen. It's 8.5 based on the fact that you have a dad who's explaining more than you would normally know about this song from a first listen.
Yeah,
but that's okay. That's okay. That's why I'm here. I'm here to help you understand that it's good. This album is all like My Iron Lung. Every song, the songs don't sound like My Iron Lung, but every song has really good depth and really good self-reflection for them as they're approaching this part. The Bends is the beginning of the bridge that ends at Kid A, where OK Computer is the bridge itself. But this is them at their rockiest best before they start showing the world how they're better than rock. Let's go to art. This is his art. He's got a guy on the left. The purple sheath around his body is an iron lung. I think he thinks this guy's kind of wearing a vest that's like an iron lung. And the guy over there is saying, that's my iron, or my iron. The guy stole his lung. I don't know that the thieving of iron lungs was a common thing back in the 40s and 50s, but to him, that's something worth noting. And then for her, she sees a person developing, growing. This is the same person in 3 different stages. You know, obviously looks the exact same, just getting larger. And she felt like the song was getting bigger. This person was developing. I might be putting a little bit more psychology into her thoughts and words and art than she said, expressed. But that is what she said, that it was somebody developing, somebody growing. So, yeah. My Iron Lung. Great song. We had a comment from Lucky Kid A, who broke down all the albums, the songs we've done from each album. And of course, there's some albums we've done a lot more from, and some albums we haven't done quite as much from. And I thought, wow, that's a lot of homework you did. And it made me, all of this to say, go back to the King of Limbs and do Separator, which we probably do need to go to King of Limbs. So let's say...
Did he do that too?
No, this is me.
Oh.
This is him.
Okay.
Or her. So just based on that, yeah, let's go back to the King of Limbs next. I will say Separator is not where I think I would go next. I'm not going to tell you, Morning Mr. Magpie, but you guys decide. Leave in the comments where you think I should go. Don't base it on what this guy says or what I said. If we go back to King of Limbs, what track should we do from the King of Limbs next? I went through all the albums and I averaged out the score you've given the songs from that album, so you guys can all get an idea of which albums you've kind of responded the best to so far. On a couple of songs like Burn the Witch, where you went back and gave it a higher score, I went with the original score because these are first reactions. So just so you guys know, Pablo Honey on average got 8.25. That's a high score, Pablo Honey. The Benz, not including My Iron Lung, is at 7.88. OK Computer is at 7.3. Again, let down. He ended up giving a higher score too, but the original score makes it something. Kid A is 6.83. We haven't done a lot of Kid A yet, but that could come up. Amnesiac, not a lot from... Oh, no, we've done a few from Amnesiac. It's at 6.5. Hail to the Thief is 7.13. In Rainbows is 7. We knocked out a lot of real big ones from In Rainbows right off the bat, and those are ones, again, I think he would go back and give better scores to. The King of Limbs, you've given 6.75. Again, we've only done a couple songs from that, though, so that's why that number might be a little lower. And A Moon-Shaped Pool, generally you've given a 6. B-sides, you've given 8 on average to the songs of the B-sides. It helps that we did Lift. It helps that we did Palo Alto, which you really liked. So, you know, of course, B-sides, we've been showing them some good ones there, but we've only done a few. You're right, Lucky Kid A. We have not done a lot of the King of Limbs. Let's go back there. We've done Give Up the Ghost and we've done Lotus Flower. So, suggest something besides those songs and we'll get on it. Lots of fun. Hopefully by then I'll have my voice back. Thank you for all your suggestions. Thank you for all your kind comments. Thank you for continuing to watch. Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Send it to your friends so they can subscribe. Send Jacob a Wii and Rock Band with all the pieces to it. And that'll be great. Continue to love one another. Keep listening to music together. You're now leaving
the 15th floor.
Go M's.